And hello, one and all, and welcome to my live review for Monday Night Raw. We're going to take a look and talk about everything that took place on the August 8th, 2016 edition of Raw that was live from Anaheim, California. Guys, there's no way around it. I did not enjoy tonight's episode of Raw. I really felt like it was a chore to sit through. I am going to talk about the positives, what little that there were. Sorry if I sounded a little down in this review. It's just, this was not a good show. I mean, for 3 hours, this clearly dragged. I don't know what was going on tonight. I don't know about you, but I felt that the overall pacing of this show, it just felt off. It just felt like, the matches were short. The show really didn't have a good overall flow, and therefore that made it tough to sit through. And that was one of the concerns that I had with the draft coming up, and you're splitting your roster in half, is what type of Raws are we going to be getting with it still being 3 hours? Are we going to be seeing Raws like the one we saw in Pittsburgh? And I understand it can't be on that level every single week, and that was the best Raw of the year, but I don't want to see Raws like we saw tonight. Tonight was just, like I said, there really wasn't a lot that happened. I mean, we had matches announced, and we'll get to those, and stuff took place, but it just, at the end of the day, it just left you feeling, meh, okay, I watched it, but nothing really to say there. So, of course, we're going to get into my full thoughts and opinions. And without further ado, let's take a look at what took place on the show. We had an in-ring opening promo with Enzo and Cass. They were talking in the ring, and then Jericho interrupted, and Kevin Owens came down, and this pretty much was to hype and set up their tag team match at SummerSlam. It wasn't a bad opening promo. It was okay. It was great seeing Enzo and Cass, as always. And then Jericho challenged Enzo to a match. And then we had Enzo versus Chris Jericho. It was an okay match. I really felt like it could have been better. I don't know what was going on, but the chemistry just felt off between these two. I really thought it would be a much better match than we ended up getting. The finish of the match came when Jericho was able to hit the the finish came when Jericho attempted to hit the code breaker, and Enzo walked right into it, and then Cass got into the ring and he hit a big boot on Jericho. This led to the DQ from the ref, and Jericho and Owens scurry out of the ring. Enzo and Cass challenged Jericho and Owens to a fight in their backyard at SummerSlam. I did like this. I did like the announcement of the match of Jericho versus Enzo and Big Cass at SummerSlam. I think that'll be a good, solid undercard match. It'll be a good spot for Enzo and Cass, their first SummerSlam in their backyard of Brooklyn. They're going to get a tremendous reaction, and you put them in with a veteran like Jericho and great worker like Owens. I think they're going to turn out some good stuff. So looking forward to the addition of that match on the SummerSlam card. Also, it was announced that it would be the Club versus Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, taking place at SummerSlam for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Glad we officially got that match announced. So the SummerSlam card, with the addition of Roman Reigns versus Rusev for the United States Championship, it is a stacked card. Like I've been saying, this SummerSlam has the potential to be the best pay-per-view of the year, and I'm going to be on record, and I'm going to keep saying that because I cannot wait for SummerSlam. It's going to be over 4 hours long. This year, I feel like there really is enough content to fill out that 4 hours. Last year, it kind of dragged, but I don't think that'll be the case this year for SummerSlam 2016. So kudos, I have to say, to WWE on filling out the match card for SummerSlam. We eventually have Mick Foley talking to Sasha Banks backstage, and he says, if you want to make sure that Dana Brooke won't interfere at SummerSlam, there are two options for you. Tonight, you will face Dana Brooke, and if you win, Dana will be banned from ringside at SummerSlam. But if you lose, it'll be a 2-on-1 match versus Charlotte at SummerSlam. So that was the stipulation for that match. Sasha versus Dana Brooke was set for later on in the night, and that was something to look forward to. However, I felt like it was a short match, and Sasha was able to defeat Dana Brooke, but it was only like 2:41 or something. 2 minutes and 41 seconds, and it was just like, oh, that's it. With a match with stakes on it, stakes involved, you think it would go a little bit longer. I don't know. It just felt like, just like I said, the overall theme, the pace of the show was just like quick matches, and the segments all felt out of order, and it just definitely hurt the flow of the show overall. We then had Braun Strowman destroy another local talent from Anaheim, California. The guy barely got any offense, and Strowman picked him up and beat the holy hell out of him. He hit the reverse choke slam for the win. So that was what it was. We then had Darren Young versus Titus O'Neil. Young won by grabbing the tights, and he got the win. So like I said, we had a squash match. Then we had a short match with Darren Young and Titus O'Neil. It was what it was. We then had an in-ring segment with Seth Rollins. He pretty much talked up how the myth of Finn Balor, and he actually called him, I swear he said Demon Kane at first, and then he caught himself, and then he had to realize, oh shit, I fucked up. Demon King. He's talking about the mythology behind Finn Balor's name, and he said Balor was disrespectful to him, and that he has no right to beat him for that Universal title, and that at SummerSlam Rollins is going to take what is his because he is the man. This is his show. He is Seth freaking Rollins, and it was an okay promo from Seth. I felt he was on point, leveling his criticisms toward Balor. But the one thing that I did like, of course, we're looking towards next week already for Raw based on how meh this episode was. Rollins is going to call out the Demon Balor next week on Raw, so we have that to look forward to. Really want to see how that goes. That is certainly interesting. Also, next week on Raw will be Brock Lesnar will be returning, so we have that to look forward to. So hopefully the go-home episode of Raw to SummerSlam will be much more eventful than this episode. We had a good match against Sheamus versus Cesaro. Really like when these two get in the ring together. You combine the brute power force of both guys. Sheamus, he's a tough son of a gun, and Cesaro, who is a physical, he's physically strong. He can just lift guys, with the way he lifted Sheamus with ease, straight deadlift. I mean, it was incredible. Every time Cesaro gets in there, he's busting his ass to prove that why he is the best on the Raw roster right now. And Cesaro really had a good night tonight. I really thought he had a good showing against Sheamus in this match. And no 50-50 bullshit booking. Cesaro was able to defeat Sheamus for the second week in a row. That's right, you heard me. Cesaro defeated Sheamus for the second week in the row. He won after he was able to hit the he actually rolled up Sheamus for the win. So it was great to see Cesaro not trade wins back and forth with Sheamus, and it was a nice win for him. And like I said, this was probably up to this point the best thing on the show. We also had what I thought there were two very good video packages on this show. There was a great video package hyping up Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton, and as I said on Twitter, both of these guys in this video package were in the I don't give a fuck mode. They didn't care. They knew, they were going to piss each other off with what they said, but they didn't care. They pretty much trashed each other, and it was great. I cannot wait to see Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton step into the ring with one another. Either one's going to take them to Viperville, or the other one's going to go to Suplex City, and these two are going to beat the holy hell out of each other, and it is going to be awesome. So this was a very good video package. Certainly got me hyped for their main event match at SummerSlam. Good stuff all around. The other good video package tonight on Raw, I have to say, was the Finn Balor video package. Him talking about, the origins, the mythology behind his name, Finn Balor, from the ancient Irish legends. And it was really good. You needed this to explain, to the mass audience of who Finn Balor exactly is, because while NXT reaches a fair number of viewers, it does not reach the entirety of WWE fans. So this was a good way to give them a little backstory into the man behind Finn Balor. So kudos to WWE on both of those video packages. I thought they were a positive in what was overall a dragging Monday Night Raw. So I enjoyed that stuff. So up until this point, I enjoyed Cesaro versus Sheamus, the two video packages. So you can tell what kind of show this was. We then had the Dudley Boys versus Neville and Sin Cara. Neville and Sin Cara won after Neville hit the red arrow on Devon. Not much more you can say there. We then had this interesting, as you can tell, I'm trying to rush through this review. We then had an in-ring segment between Rusev and Lana. as you all know, Rusev and Lana recently got married, so they have this whole elaborate thing. They had flowers in the ring. They had a wedding cake, which you knew was going to be destroyed. That was the whole setup of the segment. And they're going on and on and on. And the crowd starts chanting boring, boring at them. And then Roman Reigns comes out. And I actually thought Roman did fairly well here. He seemed pretty relaxed, pretty easygoing on the mic. He's like, I'm going to pour some champagne, and I'm your best man, and I want to give you a toast, Rusev and Lana, a toast. And Rusev says, no, I won't accept your toast. So Reigns says, okay, what about a challenge? I challenge you for the U.S. title at SummerSlam. Rusev says, no, that's not going to happen at all. And then Reigns says, makes a comment about Lana, and that really ticks Rusev off. And then Rusev tries to attack Reigns, but then Reigns pushes Rusev, and Lana goes face first into the wedding cake. You knew it was going to happen. Lana is covered head to toe in wedding cake, and she's screaming, and Rusev's bitching up a fit. And yeah, it was an all right segment. I thought Reigns really held his own here. He felt really, like I said, comfortable on the mic. The crowd, they didn't crap all over him, so that was great to see. So maybe this program with Rusev, or if they had Cesaro and Sheamus, we'll have to see based on the ending of Raw tonight. But I thought it was okay. Kind of went on a little bit long, but yeah, it was what it was. We then had Sasha Banks, like I said, beat Dana Brooke in relatively quick fashion to keep her match with Charlotte one-on-one. So therefore, Dana Brooke is banned from ringside. We had another short match. It was Luke Gallows taking on Kofi Kingston. Gallows was able to hit the flapjack for the win. Like I said, it was a short match, and then afterwards, it looked like they were going to lay out Kofi Kingston, similarly how they took Big E and ran his crotch into the ring post, but Xavier Woods ran him off with a steel chair. Didn't really get a lot of the New Day tonight, so I was a little disappointed in that. And then we had the in-ring segment between Mick Foley and Daniel Bryan. Foley called out Bryan, and they talk about, each other's attempting to put on the best possible show, Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown. And then eventually, Foley disses Bryan for Bryan's comments about the Universal title. And then Rusev comes out, and I'm like thinking, okay, where are we going to go with this? And then Cesaro comes out. And then Bryan says Cesaro has been underutilized on Raw, which he has been. And then Foley says to Bryan, you got to stay out of this. This is my business. It's not yours show. And then Foley says that Cesaro will get a U.S. championship match right now. So that was our main event. It kind of came out of nowhere. And I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. Rusev and Cesaro, of course, they have a very solid match. Good way to close out Raw. I was really hoping for Cesaro to pick up the win. Sheamus comes down to the ring, distracts Cesaro. But Cesaro is able to knock Sheamus off the ring, and Rusev hits a kick to Cesaro's head, but Cesaro is able to kick out. He tries to hit the neutralizer, but the referee is knocked down. This leads to the Sheamus hitting the bro kick on the outside to Cesaro, and then Rusev kicks Cesaro in the head, and Rusev successfully retains his United States Championship. And then after the match, Roman Reigns runs down and hits a very nice-looking spear on Rusev. That's how we close out this week's underwhelming edition of Raw. So yeah, guys, I was really hoping for Cesaro to win the United States Championship. I was kind of disappointed to see that ending, although I thought the spear by Reigns was well done. Maybe we'll see a fatal four-way between all four guys involved. We'll have to see next week. But yeah, not a good episode of Raw, especially heading into SummerSlam. We're only 2 weeks out, so I hopefully SmackDown Live will be better tomorrow. But yeah, I'm giving this week's Raw a D+. So this was a relatively quick live Raw review, but I want to say thank you to all who tuned in to watch. Please leave your comments down below, and I will be sure to respond back to all of them in timely fashion. So yeah, guys, let me know down below what you thought of Raw tonight. Did you like it? Didn't you like it? And we'll have a good discussion, hopefully. So thank you all for tuning into my live Raw review. I will be sure to give you my thoughts and opinions on the Stone Cold podcast with special guest Dean Ambrose. Be watching it tomorrow after work. And then, of course, stay tuned tomorrow night, 10 p.m. for my live SmackDown review. So until then, guys, I will see you in my next video. Take care.